Yeah. Sorry that I can't figure out technology. I'm
No, dude, it's at least 60% my fault.
All right. So this is the 8th episode of the Hive. I'm very stoked to have Mr. Logan Gelbrich with us. Is it Gelbrich or Gelbrich?
Gelbrich, you nailed it on the first try. That's rare.
Logan Gelbrich with us. As always, I want to start with some thank yous. Thank you to the doctor, though he smelled like cigarettes, who just removed the cyst from my head. I appreciate that. It's been there since 2010, so thank you. And then to Captain Spaghetti, aka Aiden, who's in the other room playing with Legos right now. I appreciate his flexibility on his spring break to not have me for an hour or so, or however long this lasts.
Awesome.
And then to my family and friends for being rad and always supporting the Movement Hive stuff, and also to Mr. Logan Gelbrich for saying yes to this. I really, really appreciate it. Movement Hive moments from the week. I added a 200-pound sandbag to the crew. I'm super stoked. Won't be able to use it for like 2 weeks or so, supposedly because of this thing. But I lifted it a few times yesterday, and it's pretty rad. And I think my students are going to like it too. And without further ado, this interview. So Logan Gelbrich, writer, athlete, coach, business owner, and all-around rad dude. Yeah, so welcome, Logan.
Thank you, man. I'm so pumped to do this. I think we've been toying with the idea here for a while, and dude, it's the easiest thing to say yes to.
Cool. So you kind of have the outline in front of you too, but I'll try and ask the questions when appropriate. So I want to start with caminante no hay camino, se hace camino al andar. It's been a while since I lived in New Mexico. Wayfarer, there is no path. You make the path by walking. So what path have you walked / are you walking? Because it's a different sort of path than most folks typically walk in fitness, strength, all that stuff. So, I mean, the fact that you call the folks who come to your gym students is also very different than I think most places are used to. So who's Logan Gelbrich? How did you get here?
Yeah, man, I love that quote, by the way.
Thank you for introducing it to me.
Yeah, my quote is, or I'm sorry, my path is my own, just like everybody's, and I think that the way that I'd like to first start to answer your question is by saying I don't have a single clue what I'm doing. I don't think anybody does. We're all trying stuff maybe, but I think if you can get past that first hump of believing that people just have some sort of life figured out, then you can start to do your own thing. Most specifically, my path, I guess the short story is I was born here in Santa Monica, California, and since I can remember, I wanted to play Major League Baseball. And that goal took me through school and into college and beyond into professional baseball, and of course that ended younger than my my goals kind of wished for, but it taught me everything that I care to know, and it kind of made me who I am. And so now here we are, and I'm just trying to figure it out. My goals, wished for, but I think there's a replay. It taught me everything that I care to know. And
let me put some headphones on.
Who I am. Yep. And so now here we are, and I'm trying to figure it out.
Obviously, I don't have the internet figured out, which is...
No, it's all good. That might have been me.
I was listening to the BirthFit podcast this morning. John Wellborn was on it.
Yeah.
Dude, it's dope. It's fantastic. I mean,
I haven't listened yet. I saw that they posted it, but John Wellborn is an amazing person, and so I'm excited for that one for sure.
All right. Do you still hear the replay? Otherwise, I won't plug these in.
I don't hear the replay anymore, so
okay, I'll leave it now.
So yeah, and so I guess here we are. I just tackled this goal that was specific and random to me. And what today looks like, I guess, is this serial entrepreneur trying to, I guess, say a couple things. And I think the physical expression of that is the gym. So my gym, Deuce Gym, is here in Venice Beach, and it's probably like 400 feet from where we are, or where I am right now. And that's just an excuse to have a conversation about movement and performance, and a general conversation about just human betterment, and I think there's fitness and strength and conditioning provide short, easy access to that conversation. I also have another company called Original Nutritionals, and that is kind of the excuse to have the nutrition kind of conversation. I started that company with a general distaste for both supplements and supplement companies, and so it's kind of in the same way that the gym is like the anti-gym, I think it's kind of like the anti-supplement company in a weird way.
Yeah.
And with that, I've kind of backdoored myself into like a little writing career. So I write for different publications, and get to run my mouth about whatever I think is important. And sometimes people read that. And I guess the last specific thing I do is I get to go around and teach the CrossFit Strongman seminar around the world. And so every so often I hop on an airplane and teach people how to load stones and press logs and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
So let's see. This is my first interview type situation with folks, so I'm gonna try and not be super weird.
No, we're chilling.
I want it to be a conversation, but I also like have these things that I wrote down that I kind of want to touch on. And I don't know if you see the next one, but it's hold the standard, which I think kind of Deuce Gym and Original Nutritionals, from my outside perspective, seem to play into pretty well.
Yep.
Is there's this standard, this doing things well, doing things better, bettering people, bettering the world seems to be a trend for you, across the different things that you do.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering where did the drive for like that high quality just life come from?
So, like I said, the whole baseball thing provided the context for what planning and goal setting and striving for excellence and managing adversity and yada yada yada. It provided the conversation for all that stuff. And so along the way, I was able to develop what ended up being a pretty strong resilience to adversity relative to me. A pretty strong work ethic amongst my peers. I didn't really see anybody able to put forth more of an effort to accomplish a goal. And then when all that went away, I wondered what that would look like to display that type of ambition and work ethic, and we'll say like willingness to fail in a broad sense. And so this was kind of like this esoteric conversation about life, like what the hell are we doing here? And it seemed to me that the best use of our time would just be to max it out, strive for some sort of excellence, idealism, we'll say, and then screw it up and then try again and progress that as far as we can. And I would argue that that is the point of our time here. And so, like you said, the gym and the other things that I do are hopefully expressions of that. Of course, you can express that in a million other ways, whether it be art or parenthood or some sort of other business, or maybe even some servant leadership in terms of politics. I don't know. There's a million ways to kind of share that. I don't think that everybody needs to love the things that I love. but the standard idea was a dual part thing. I think in one way, I wanted the gym to represent an idea, something bigger than me or anyone else, and that if it could represent this idealism, then people would walk in there, myself included, and feel the weight of responsibility to do these things that I'm talking about. Because if it's not that, if it's this gym is me or this gym is the coaches, then that is far from ideal, right? I'm not that awesome. But if it was perfection, an idea that we all, regardless of your background, can appreciate, then everybody that stepped foot in there would play up to the expectation. And that is the culture that I was looking to develop. And so I think that is the thing that people feel in the air around it. And sometimes the air is literally the air at the gym. Sometimes it's on Instagram. You know?
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's fantastic. And I think it's you're absolutely right in, well, who knows if there's rights or wrongs, but it's something worthwhile to always be on that kind of trajectory and fall flat on your face and then get back up and like keep working towards some sort of excellence. And you kind of touched on it, but there's this really interesting quote that one of my friends in New Mexico shared with me. It's from, oh shoot, it's from actually this book, the Book of the Samurai. And it goes, when meeting calamities or difficult situations, it's not enough to simply say that one is not flustered. When meeting difficult situations, one must dash forward bravely and with joy. So shit/poop hits the fan. How do you maintain such a positive outlook? Slash, why do we add value? Why add value in everything we do? Because I think that's one thing I've at least read of you saying that kind of has stuck with me as far as my own teaching. Like, how do I kind of lead my students to always try and add value, even when crappy situations happen? Because they happen all the time. How do we, how do we maintain such a positive perspective when all that stuff happens?
Yeah, for me, I guess this understanding began like anecdotally. You know, every place that I looked that was extremely difficult and came with, we'll say, trials and tribulations. Everything that was hard to do was also the most worthwhile and yielded the most results. This is like a relationship that, if you just think about it logically, I think is almost like a universal truth, you know? And so when I deal with things that present failure, I kind of know I'm on the right track in a weird way. And so I've developed this little like morbid attraction to hard things. I'm like cursed or blessed with this like this belief that I can do everything, which isn't true, and this willingness to like for it to suck a lot. And so if it's not hard, I have this like red flag that goes off, and I'm like, wait, I'm in the wrong zone here. I got like something's up, you know. It's all is too quiet, right? And so yeah, in my opinion, if it's not challenging, then it's not really worth your time. And so the beauty in that is that it's relative, right? So whatever is challenging for me might be easy for somebody else, and vice versa. That conversation never ends. So it's the same reason why we'll say that, you know, we can talk about maybe Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player of all time.
Maybe.
I don't know enough about basketball to say that's true, but allegedly he is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But if you were Michael, in his eyes, there's never a moment where he comes to a press conference and it's just like, nailed it again. I'm the dude. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's like some confidence there and some swagger and some act as if mentality that helps with his and anybody else in his position's performance. But in his eyes, the standard is just higher. And so his version of perfection is, you know, a level beyond someone else's, and he's continually failing in his own world. And so at the end of a 32-point game, his conversation isn't, yep, I'm the dude, 12 more points than the next highest scoring player. It's, I easily could have had 36. I missed that turnover in the third quarter. You know, he's evaluating his own reality, right? So, and he is our poster child in this example for the best of all time. Yet his conversation isn't, I've nailed it, I'm the guy. Of course, you know, it's not easy for him. And so if you're not having that conversation, you're not really in the game, whatever your game is my view, you know.
That's great. I just had a conversation with one of my students the other day, and it got a little bit towards religious, and so I was in dangerous waters, let's say.
Yeah.
But I was talking about how because some of our students act as if they know everything. I was like, honestly, the folks who know the most act like they know very little because they know that there's so much room to grow. And yeah, it's just an interesting conversation to have. When you have a conversation with someone's like, I got it. It's like, okay, let me go the other way because chances are you probably don't. And yeah. I'm more interested, I guess, in the conversation with folks where it's like, I just ran into a brick wall again, but I was trying to figure out a way to get over it, you know, sort of deal.
Yeah. It's a trip, man. The acquisition of knowledge is definitely just showing you how little you know, and yeah, that's why I'm just humbled by this entire process, because though I feel like I've learned a lot, I am very clear to myself and to others that I don't know a single thing.
Yeah, I mean, while I'm in a auditorium, gym, cafeteria right now, like I have no idea what I'm doing or where it's going. And like I've been learning for a long time, but like how do you, it's a difficult process to kind of guide. And so I know that I'm going to be learning if I want to be good, if I want to like work towards some level of standard, I have to learn every day. I mean, I don't know. Anyway. Of
course.
Yeah. Let's see. So I really just want to have a conversation, but I don't know. I'm torn. I'm torn with like all these ideas, and then just feeling lucky to have you on the phone or your screen and just like conversations because you do things differently than and not to say that people who write articles about like how this muscle works in that way, that's great and it has value. But for whatever reason, maybe it's just my understanding of the world and whatnot, like I'm more drawn towards maybe more esoteric, maybe just more meta type stuff that like it's about the gym is just this first step, right? Like training is just the first step, and then there's so much more beyond that. And so your writing really just kind of captivated me. So I heard you say something, I forgot where it was, but it was I know you were talking about sandbags, which we'll talk about more for sure because they're really cool. But that it wasn't so much that, it was more the story and how you told a story, because I think I guess it's so I was watching I watched too many videos and listened to too many podcasts, but I was watching Julian talk about something yesterday, and he was talking about the guy who Sorry, I won't even attempt Julian's last name right now.
Pinot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cano. And he was talking about the importance of asking yourself why. And then that led me to the TED Talk with the guy, Why Ask Why. And now I lost my train of thought. But because people believe in an idea, I'm completely getting lost. I'm going to stick with the questions for now.
So good.
Anyway, so the next one being that first quote that I kind of like nabbed from that interview and just kind of ran with it. It's not weird to carry heavy sandbags. So why should, and there's this guy in Sacramento who his name's Chip Conrad, that I like. He was one of the first people in like functional training that I first started reading. He's a really cool guy. I've reached out to him a few times. He doesn't necessarily like CrossFit at all, but you know, he sees correlations, and
Mm-hmm.
which is important. But he has something he calls the mom test for a gym, and I think your gym would certainly pass. Right? It would certainly pass the mom test, which is, would he allow his mother, who's like I think in her 70s, like come to someone's gym? Are people gonna be an asshole to her? Are they gonna like actually work with her, whatever? So
Right.
why are sandbags and slash strongman such fantastic tools to open up this step, which we know kind of leads to like self-betterment and that sort of thing?
Yeah, a couple of things come to mind. First of all, I always say this in my seminar. My introduction to strongman, or my appreciation for strongman, doesn't come from a place of a desire to like do the most hardcore stuff. Like I'm very much not a meathead, and I love meatheads and friends with a lot of them, and that's totally cool. But I'm just not really interested in all that stuff. And so remember, I arrived in this place as a athlete and a gym owner and a coach, more interested in the ideas that you talked about, this esoteric stuff. How do I make this conversation long lasting and impactful for a lot of people? So on and so forth. And so, to stereotype, I would say most people arrive in the strongman discipline with more of like, a love for biceps and hard workouts and whatever. And that's cool. That's just not my style. And so, first and foremost, anything and everything that I would believe in or teach to someone else has to check out, we'll say. It has to make sense logically. It has to have some sort of quality, some sort of purpose in order for me to consider it or be interested in it.
Purpose
Because,
outside the gym?
yeah, exactly. And we'll say that, tricep extensions in and of themselves don't really fire me up. Like, I'm just not that interested. You know what I'm saying? I do them, but I'm just not that fired up on them, right? And so this was the biggest surprise to me when it came to the strongman stuff, is I thought it would just be fun and different. And it is fun and different, but it's also, in my opinion, too viable of a tool to teach not just great athletes, but beginner athletes basic understandings in the gym. And if you spend your time, any amount of time, coaching other people in the gym, especially beginners, you empathize with the challenges that come with that. You're dealing with people that maybe don't know how to move well, aren't strong, but are eager to learn and change their life. And in that way, you're using maybe some basic tools like the barbell or the kettlebell or some body weight movements, etc., to understand expression of power and some sort of load-bearing exercise, quality of movement, etc., etc. It just so happens that these strongman implements, characteristically, in my opinion, aid in these expressions almost better than our stereotypical tools, say like the barbell. right? A story I always tell in the seminar is I first learned to power clean a barbell in my first year in Division I program in college. Like, here is strength and conditioning. Good luck to you. And that was in 2004. And I probably didn't open my hips to power clean a barbell fully until like 2009. And that is a 5-year slow curve to correct a movement fault. And here's the thing, with a sandbag or a keg or an Atlas stone or a log, I know that I can get any single person that walks in the door. You can surprise me. You can send your ringer, the worst mover in class. You can sneak them in. And I can get this person to understand how to violently open their hips in 5 minutes. And I just can't say that. I just can't say that about the barbell. And I think I'm a pretty good coach. But I just can't say that that's necessarily true. Now, again, I don't care. I don't care really about fitness. I'm not team gymnastics. I'm not team powerlifting. I don't need everybody to love Olympic weightlifting. I don't care if you like CrossFit or whatever. But if my job is to help you develop some capacity in terms of fitness, and these tools allow that to happen easier, more directly, then I should at least consider that, is my view, right? I should at least be open to the idea. And based on my experience, these things allow men and women of all fitness levels to access load and intensity the fastest, then I found a viable resource, is how I look at it, right? And so at Deuce, for example, moms, the mom test, dads, old people, young people, people with missing limbs, people that are overweight, people that are underweight, people that are extremely fit, and everybody in between put their hands on strongman implements just as much as they put their hands on anything else. And that's not because I want more people to like strongman. Again, I don't care. If it didn't work, we wouldn't use it. I'm not needing to defend that, right, is the view. And so it checks out, is the short story. It checks out. And so if I'm going to do my job, I have to consider it. And since we consider it, a lot of people get really, really fit. A lot of people have a lot of fun. And that's all that matters, really.
That's fantastic. I mean, one, I guess now is the moment to thank you again for writing that nice piece about my students.
Yeah, man. They fired me up. I mean, people were talking about that. They're still talking about that at the gym, man. They're fired up.
And every day I go to school, and like, as the one shorter young man who has the bicep, whatever.
Yeah.
When he walks into school, I'm just like, you're at like 100 views, dude. Like, and that might happen. That's for sure. Like, the rest of the class, they're at like 9.
Yeah.
Right. So, and but it's been interesting. So I work in a charter school, and there's really no rules. I probably shouldn't say that, but there's very few rules as far as what goes on. And I've written my own curriculum the last 2 years, and this will tie into question later, I think. But just so last May, rewind a little bit further. I'll share a little bit of my story real quick. So when I was in high school, I worked at this pizzeria, and like anyone who started working in the pizzeria, like, they had to wash dishes, and that's just what you did. That's how you like proved you were worthy of like doing anything else, like rolling a pizza, chopping a salad, doing anything. You had to, and so the owner was like a friend of one of my teachers who I also really cared about. So I was like, I'm gonna go in there and, well, I'm generally speaking hardworking dude to begin with, but I'm gonna go in there and like blow this dude's socks off. And so I'm like inside freezers, scrubbing shit, like just working hard. And then that summer, mind you, I graduated high school at about $145, like almost 5'10", 145 pounds, not a huge dude. And my summer, he's like, okay, Tyler, this summer, you're not going to be inside hardly at all. You're going to be doing shit for me like elsewhere. And he has, if you ever go to Kalamazoo, Michigan, Martini's Pizza is a great spot. But in that neighborhood, he has like a house that has like a 6-car garage. And this dude loves to like salvage wood from like different like old churches. And he has like pews and stuff. And then there's like a huge garden. And anyway, he's a very eclectic guy who I learned a lot of lessons from. More so, like he introduced me to Dow, just a whole bunch of stuff. Good dude. And that summer, I was just doing so many different things, like picking up like stacks of tiles, carrying them up and down stairs and rocks. And like at one point, I was on some stairs with a slate table, like resting on my belt at like 145 pounds. And I'm like, I felt good though. I enjoyed work. I like ate good. I didn't really like have too many cares in the world because I was just doing stuff. And so when I heard you talk about sandbags last year, I was like, oh shit. Yeah. And I had a sandbag from a couple years back, but anyway, like I've had like an up and down relationship with like healthy relationship with my body. And so but it was, I was on an upswing. And then 5 days before I got married, I sprained my ankle. I was playing basketball with some of my students after school. And like, I think I went up for a shot and I came down and landed on it funny. And I just crumpled to the floor. My students were like laughing at me. And I was like, dude, I can't get up. Like, you gotta help me. And I had been doing a lot of barbell work at that time. I knew that while the doctor said I shouldn't be moving that much, like I need to be moving, right? That's going to help it heal better and like all that stuff. And two, a barbell wasn't that exciting. It doesn't like connect to me on like that story level. And so I got the sandbag out and I went to the park and just would do that every day. And I have to tell you, like last summer, I would mix in like barbell stuff too, but that was the most fun I had training in such a long time. Like just carrying a frigging sandbag around, like it's nothing, but it's also everything. And so that's a little anecdote, I guess.
Yeah, dude, that's it, man. And there's that intangible, like it excited you about movement. And I think that in and of itself is not enough to justify the quality of some training, but it also checks out. You know, you are getting stronger. It's a viable training tool, but it just so happens that it's fun as well. You know.
Yeah, and that 200-pound bag that I filled it on Easter, but like that, man, that's, I weigh about, I don't know what I weigh right now. I'm probably between 165, 170, but like squatting that is no joke. And then we live on the second floor. So it was in the back of my car yesterday. I was like, oh shoot, I need to get this out. I'm not driving across town with this thing in here again. So I like carried it up to the landing in our house. It was crazy. Like it just, it feels good. Like you're like, my body is alive and working right now. Like all parts. And like you said, with a barbell, that doesn't always happen. Like, and it's easier to access that. And the chance of me getting sued for a kid dropping a sandbag on his foot is a lot less than if they drop a barbell or a kettlebell or something like that. Like the chance of injury for that, at least right now, is pretty low. So how much time do you have?
I got all the time in the world.
Okay, cool.
All the time in the world.
So while we're on the subject, I guess, of my gym classes, what would your dream PE look like for kids these days? Because I think it's really dope that you consider your like you mostly adults at your gym.
Yeah, almost all adults. I mean, there's some younger folks, like a couple high school age kids that have jumped in there, but this particular gym is mostly adults. Deuce Athletics, which is down the way in Torrance, is a different deal with it's mostly kids, but yeah, we just so happen to be mostly adults.
But I think it's really dope that you consider them students, I guess is what I was getting at. But what would be like an ideal dream phys ed look like for you these days? Because I don't think, I mean, at least being in education, I'm noting like some of our warm-up stuff, I'm trying to open up hips and ankles because kids are sitting so much, and then like they're on their phones all the time, so like their neck and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So from a much more experienced coach perspective, what are some of the things that you would do for an ideal trainer?
So this is a big deal, and this is why I really appreciate what you do on a daily basis. We have a big problem in this country when it comes to our health and well-being, and that is starting at a very, very young age. And
Oh, sorry,
so I
sorry to
think,
interrupt you. One sec.
yeah,
Come here. Okay, sorry, my stepson's in the back, and we had a conversation. I told him your name, and he's like
what's up?
Wolverine. Oh, 1 second,
Exactly.
I'll be right back. What's up?
All right.
Oh, those are fantastic. Luke Skywalker, can you come say hi for a sec? Okay. Well, say hi from a distance. Wave.
What up?
All right. Sorry. It wouldn't
good.
be a teacher if that wasn't
Right.
and a dad. Okay. Sorry. We have a very serious kind of thing going on in the country.
Yeah, and I know, and you know, and I think we all that are involved in fitness and strength and conditioning know the power of dealing with and progressing your physical capabilities and what that can do even for cognitive abilities. If you read, there's actually a really good scholarly text called Spark, I believe.
Yep.
You've read it.
Ramsey.
Yeah. The school in Naperville that just changed one thing, and that was putting PE in zero period or first period, and then they are kind of back to back to back standardized test champions. The point is that at such a young age, I view fitness and training as this massive opportunity, and it's a massive opportunity for a couple reasons. One, like I said, because we have this huge problem and then we need help, and any help is better than nothing. And two, when your training age is starting so young, when you're starting to train at 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, the low hanging fruit of performance is such that anything will help. And so setting a basic broad foundation, in my opinion, is so important that you don't need a crazy detailed oriented progression with crazy numbers and all of these things. I would have something similar to what you're doing, where there's basic carries, crazy volumes of calisthenics, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, squats. If someone could leave 8th grade or their senior year of high school or whatever time they have at a certain school and know how to squat, the world would be a much better place. Sandbags, wheelbarrows, loading, carrying, pushing, pulling, sleds. You can make absolute, not that this is always the goal, but absolute savages with basic human movement, And I looked at guys like Zach Evanesh, who is an awesome kind of friend from a distance, who is leading some of this charge at the high school age specifically. But raw, brute, simple training, push up, squat, pull up, carry, push, pull, and you guys are doing it, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be an attempt to be scientific. But if these kids can build a work capacity, God forbid, they have some fun doing it, the ripple effect is going to be insane.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much, because it's some days it's more of a battle than others. Like whether it's fighting the social medias or which are a constant battle, or just getting kids like comfortable moving around each other, because a lot of our, it's either like football, basketball, maybe cheerleading, and that's it. Like that's kids'
Yeah.
understanding of like what movement is, and it's like maybe.
Yeah.
But I have some kids who played in like PAL, which is our local like football league, like
Yeah.
national championships, who can't do a lunge, like
Yeah.
strong dudes who can't do a lunge,
Right.
and like who was when he was so his video wasn't the one I sent you, but when for his video he was sitting down and like giving the directions to because his back was in pain, right?
Right.
Just from like trying to pick up a weight one time.
Right.
And it wasn't because of the weight, it was like it brought
Yeah.
something else up. He's in eighth
Right.
grade,
For sure.
right?
For
And
sure.
last year in seventh grade, he still couldn't do a lunge, which is just bananas. So let's see. I guess I've picked out some quotes when I was like, what am I going to ask Logan when I get him on the video telephone? And so I picked some quotes that I'd like just picked out throughout the year, and one of them is "You don't have to work out to kick it," which I mean you've kind of touched on already, but I think the community aspect of Deuce seems to be very strong. Like folks believe in each other. No, you come here. Sorry. The community aspect seems to be super strong, and I think like part of the reason I started the movement Hive, like the movement and Hive part, is the Hive is the community, and without each other, right? We won't exist anyway. So does it? And I'm also a little bit unfamiliar with CrossFit because I've never actually gone to a CrossFit gym. I've just kind of heard it from a distance. But does that community just naturally happen in a CrossFit gym, or is it some CrossFit? Sorry, the community has happened specifically in your gym because you've created it in such a way. Come here, buddy.
I think there's a natural element of community that's going to happen anytime you have people, when three or more are gathered, type of thing. We don't necessarily just sit back and let any version of the community come forward. It takes cultivating. Any organization needs help when it comes to their culture, and I think we are trying to develop a culture that is high in quality, extremely inclusive, and begets a certain reality. And I can just speak for myself that like who I am right now in this moment is as much to do with the decisions I make as it is the people that are around me. I don't, it gets a little crazy the way that I think sometimes, but I'm a dead man walking, like what do I got? 70 more years here. Like, like if I'm lucky. So I don't have enough time to waste with people that aren't helping and aren't pushing forward the conversation and aren't making the people around them better. If you're not inspiring to me, I just can't spend the time. I'm dead, man. I'm out of here, and so I don't take all these calls. There's a reason why I'm talking to you right now, because we inspire each other, you know what I mean? And so the gym has to be that for the people that show up there, myself included, and so if that gym feels like a place where crazy fitness people go and show off how strong they are, then that gym is only for people that I don't really want to hang out with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so there is a magic to the, lack of a better term, osmosis that happens when you're around quality people. And I'll tell you what, there's been more conversations in that place outside of working out that have had an impact on people that's key to their personal journey or whatever. And that's only made
One second. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you got it.
Aiden, come here. All right, what's up? we'll actually walk down there right after this, okay? Because I know you want to show them those. All right? Okay, and you want to. Sorry, I'd be a complete asshole if I didn't address that.
It's all good. No, it's all good, man.
No, okay, continue. Sorry.
And so, yeah, I was just kind of saying, like, you know, that the gym culture provides a filter that is very key to success, in my opinion. And so the sign, I made a couple signs. You don't need to work out to kick it, because if you did, then maybe some very helpful people to the community would never step foot in there. You know, maybe people that deep down think that they want to start a journey of movement and accountability and self-betterment wouldn't show up because they thought that the gym was something else. And I know for certain that regardless of what people think coming in, it's not what you think. It's not what you think.
Come here. Say hi. Say hi. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
What do you want? Sorry, Logan.
It's all good, man.
Yes, I can. All right. I'll be right back.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. No, I think that's fantastic, and I think it's I don't know. I appreciate this conversation, I guess, because I mean, as I've said to you before, I guess, and I mean, maybe my bosses don't know, or maybe they do. I don't know. But one day down the road, like I want to open a gym because I think it's just that important, right? And then also keep influencing like the in-school phys ed stuff. But I think it's very important that people be able to have conversations around that sort of thing. I mean, and one of the folks having the conversations, like the Wadcast podcast folks, right? They do that at a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate I appreciate a lot of people's podcasts, but like theirs is just like fun, honest people conversations, really. Like it's and it may be a little bit more vulgar than most. Maybe I have to turn it down when Aid's in the car a little bit, but like they're good people. Like you can, and you can tell they're genuine people. And I think genuine folks in this day and age are maybe not few and far between. That would be kind of negative to say, but like it's a lot easier to not be with Instagram and all that jazz. Sorry, that wasn't a super meaningful response, but
no, it's real.
Let's see. There was a couple more things, and then I can for sure let you go. But so the last week I think I wrote More Than a Gym, and I think you kind of touched on it before in that like you're not super a gym rat kind of dude, and there's been times in my life where like I just went to the gym every day because I was trying to like put on weight and whatnot, and while I kind of enjoyed my training sessions, like it wasn't that fulfilling to me. Like I'd rather like go to the park with him and like climb some trees or like hop on rocks or throw stuff or get scrapes and whatnot. I'd rather like go to the coffee shop, have a good conversation with someone, like with my wife or anyone, right? I'd rather go for a walk or a longboard or something like that. So what are some of the things beyond the gym? And I know like you don't have a whole lot of time outside of the gym and all that other stuff, but like what are some of the things you get down with? Because I think part of the reason I'm probably like drawn to your sort of writing and that sort of thing is because of a similar understanding of things. Like it's not like the gym is just the starting place, right? That like training is just the beginning. It's just a lab, a place where you can practice things so that you can go do some cool stuff, right? When I was in New Mexico, I was in the mountains all the time. I'd I'd rather go hiking a mountain than like pretend I'm hiking a mountain on a elliptical or something like that.
For
Which I
sure.
ellipticals in our
For
gym,
sure.
you know, that
For
sort of
sure.
thing. So,
Yeah.
what sort of things do you get down with outside of gym life, which I know is
Yeah. I mean, my time is definitely pretty short in terms of things that don't revolve around work, but that's definitely by choice. That's not a complaint by any means. The happiest I pretty much get is a trip to the coffee shop. I like the experience of going there, being there, thinking, reading, writing, having a good conversation. And so that's kind of my like vacation while being home. I'll probably go there later today. And so that time is key. It seems very simple, but without it, not that awesome of a person. I'm also taking up jujitsu, so that's one way that I practice movement outside of the gym. Um, I'm learning, and I plan on learning, till I'm no longer here. And so that's one new practice. But of course, when we travel, I love to get in the water and explore and all that stuff. But yeah, my gym reality is also not a normal gym reality, so we're just hanging out doing weird stuff rather than, I don't know, marking time with the headphones in around like a Globo gym style, and so that's basically me. Also, by the way, I commute on foot, on a skateboard, or on a bike, so kind of soaking up my surroundings in that way. I don't really subscribe to the regular Los Angeles traffic thing. I don't do it.
my sister lives. Where does she live? She lives close to you guys.
Oh yeah,
Car, not Culver City. Is that a place?
Culver City, yeah, heck yeah.
And she works in Santa Monica.
Oh
She said
wow.
like 6 miles, and it takes her like forever. And
Oh
then
yeah.
my brother lives. I think he lives in Orange County. I don't know, but he like his commute is stupid every day. It's like I couldn't do it. 20 minutes in the car is way too long for me, and that's what it is right now.
Yeah.
Like that's just because we chose to live over here on this side of
Right.
the city. But cool. What are there some? Well, I'm pretty sure I can answer the favorite coffees that you would suggest. But which
Caveman
there,
coffee.
dude, that's you know, I worked. So one of the other jobs I had was at Water Street coffee joint doing like landscaping and stuff. And that was the first time I never really drank coffee when I was a kid. Like well, obviously not as a kid, but like my dad always did it. And I always remember the smell, and then it'd get up to my face and be like, "That's disgusting." And then working at that coffee shop though, like they have a roastery there as well, and that's where I was moving a lot of lumber. And it like the smell is just it's amazing. Their coffee is good, but like Caveman coffee is just like another notch. Which sorry to the folks, the awesome folks at Water Street, but like, and support Water Street if you live in Kalamazoo or Michigan. But like, Caveman coffee is the shit, and I've noticed like the last couple of days because I ran out of it, and I was drinking something else. And I was like, not quite the same deal.
Right. Yeah, they do it right.
Well, I think that's the idea though, right? Is to take the time to do things right and find the best way to do it. And I think sometimes it can get frustrating, and I guess this goes back to another question, but like it can get frustrating when like maybe the world around you isn't quite like working on that level yet, and you're trying to work towards something. Let's see, favorite books. Any favorite books you'd like to share? I was mostly just wondering for myself. I was meant to ask you the other day, but now I have you on here, so I'll ask you. Just like, and it doesn't have to be training books either. You could do a training book and a regular book. Doesn't matter.
Man, I'm surrounded by books right now. I like to read a lot. I don't read very many training books, so we're good there. You know, I guess this can kind of get controversial too. So
Don't worry about that.
One of my favorite books is The Fountainhead, which can ruffle some feathers. The book that I give people the most is mindset. It's a kind of scholarly work by a woman named Carol Dweck, and it's, I don't know if you've, a lot of people are talking about it more and more now, which is cool to see. Everybody in our coaches prep program gets one book from me, and it's that, and it has nothing to do with fitness. Basically, the short story is it's discussing two perspectives or mindsets. One is the growth mindset, one is a fixed mindset, and it's going to be a hard, long road if you're trying to have success with a fixed mindset, and it's going to be difficult for me to deal with you as well. So that's the reason why everybody in the coaches prep program is given that. I'm a big fan of Nassim Taleb. I think the chronological order goes Fooled by Randomness, The Black Swan, and then his latest Anti-Fragile. And that is an options trader turned contemporary philosopher who is essentially saying a lot of things that I learned on a baseball field. No number of specific past instances can invoke an accurate general description of the future. And so it is a little bit about getting away from a tendency we have as human beings to fall victim to what's called like the narrative fallacy. So the reason why storytelling is so rich in human culture is in part because we can remember and communicate more information. If I told you 200 random words to memorize, you would have no chance in recalling them. If I read you a story, then you would have a much greater chance in recalling that story, right? Same thing, a sentence jumbled up doesn't make sense. You'd have a hard time remembering a sentence in logical order. You could tell me back right away without thinking. Mm-hmm. That's well and good, but when we do what we do as humans and something happens to us and then we start looking back in history to try to explain how that thing occurred, we can fall victim to creating a story that isn't really true about why or how that came about. And so as an options trader, it helps you I guess make lots of money and avoid pitfalls that most all stock traders fall victim to, which is there's no way we could have saw that coming. And as an athlete or a business owner or just a human going about your life, it will help you in similar but different ways as well.
So there's another book that I picked up because I saw you had read it, was it's kind of like it was a dude kind of related to organizational learning theory, but also I think it's
Theory U?
Yeah, that one where it's like aware of the future as it's
emerging. Yeah, that's heavy. Yeah, that's super heavy.
I'm a slow reader. It's hard for me to work through it. I think I'm going to pick up some of these other ones. It's interesting how folks who have learned important life lessons, or how life lessons can transcend kind of the task that you're doing, right? Like baseball and stock trading and teaching, I'm sure actually probably have some pretty similar trends across them if we were to like lay them all out and see like, oh, we might communicate them differently, but like the high five thing, right, that you wrote about, right? Like it's super, super freaking important for baseball, I'm sure, but dude is my favorite part of the day. And I think, I don't know because I'm not them, but for some of my kids, it's like their favorite part of the day, right? Like a fist bump from Mr. Fleming in the morning. Like sometimes they're like, dude, like space. And sometimes it's like a fist pound turns into a hug. And like, that's what's up. And I'm sure like that there's lessons like that transcend. And I think that's I mean, that's part of why I get what you, or I don't want to say I get, but I feel where you're coming from, because it's beyond just the gym. You have like it just keeps going, the growth kind of understanding of things. I guess a couple more to wrap it up, and let's see. So you probably knew it was coming. Well, you did because I sent it to you, I guess.
Yeah.
You want to be in the Navy when you can be a pirate. So what practices, ideas, or questions do you have to share with folks who believe in living their lives differently but aren't quite sure where to start? So like folks who want to like hop on this train of like, because I tell you, man, like since I started reading your like blog on a regular basis, and then I started like actually writing on a like daily basis, and my mindset has kind of shifted, right? Like for years I would struggle with like going to like negative places and whatnot. And in the past, I want to say since like last May or so, it's been for the most part an upward trajectory, obviously with pitfalls here and brick walls there. But you know, I'm not special, right? And I know like that there's like it's a thing for folks. Folks want to get to some place, but it can feel trapped inside of this thing. So like I tell my students, like I want you to be pirates, like to like take control of your lives and do it. I'm just wondering what are some practices, ideas, questions you might have for folks to help like get them started on that journey.
Yeah, I see people on a daily basis, you know, by the dozens, on a weekly basis, by the hundreds, getting in their own way over and over and over and over again. And so the first thing I would say is start right now. Just start, because I think we all have something in your gut that interests you, or you've thought about doing, or you want to do, but we haven't started. And you start to get in your own head and think about why things may not work, or the additional things you may need to do to feel ready. And here's the deal: you're never going to be ready. You just need to start, and you need to fail and screw it up and keep going, and fail and screw it up and keep going, and fail and screw it up and keep going. And along the way, you're going to learn things that are only possible if you just started, you know. And so when that question gets hard, like, oh man, this is crazy, I got to figure out like what my dreams are, and what I should do with my life and all that stuff. And you do that, many people sadly do that from, you know, a young age until the day that they die, and then they never did anything, right? And so here's the deal: you can be wrong. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to get it right. But there's something, everybody that I guess is listening to this right now, there's something that you know that you want to do right now. There's some interest you have, or something that you get excited about, that you haven't dug into and pulled every last ounce of whatever is in there out yet. And so you just need to start. I was super lucky that for whatever reason I figured out in my mind that I wanted to play baseball at a high level, and it was very clear for me. So I could start allocating all my little mental and physical resources to a very specific goal early on. Most people maybe don't have such a clear defined goal, and that's fine. But chasing with every ounce of what you have towards something will give you the information that you maybe don't have now and will have later. But until you begin a pursuit like that, you are forever going to be stuck in a place that, one, doesn't give you any fulfillment, and two, doesn't give you the information that you need to continue anyway. And that freaks me out. So just start.
I think that's, well, not fully done, but I think that's a pretty dope place to kind of start wrapping things up. I think that's fantastic. Also, I just thought about it as you were going. Emily, one of your coaches, middleweight strongest woman in California, correct?
Yeah, yes. We just got back, or I just got back with big Too Tall Petty. We drove up. Original Nutritionals also sponsored the event, so I brought Petty along to help me out with the booth. But the reason for the trip was California's strongest woman It was a strongman or strong woman competition in Santa Cruz this last weekend, and fellow strongman 202 coach and Deuce Gym coach Emily took home the title. Man, she
Perfect,
won
coach.
her weight class, and did it in, with style and grace, like Embo uh, knows how to do. So it was crazy, crazy.
I guess I brought that up, one, because it was fantastic and completely inspiring. So we definitely traded the inspiration this week for sure.
Yeah.
I jumped on the Power Athlete like basics program this past like couple weeks ago, and
Uh-huh.
I've been having this nagging shoulder thing that I've never had a shoulder issue before, ever. Like I was a goalie in high school, like soccer, and like dove on it a bunch, but never had an issue. Threw with this arm, never had an issue. Until recently, I probably did something stupid and like hurt it a little bit. Or as I'm listening to Julian, probably there's some other shit that I need to figure out. But
Yeah.
anyway, needless to say, I was doing the Power Athlete or trying to, and like the pressing shit was just killing me. And
Yeah.
so I I've been I'm always doing a little bit of soul searching, and I was like, you know what? This is another little sign, like get your sandbags back out, get like
Yeah.
back up with Logan and like follow along and start to like collect some more strongman type stuff. Not because the greatest thing in the world, and not because like I can push that much weight or anything like that, or will be competing anytime soon, but because it's fun and I enjoy that more, right? Like I
Yeah.
enjoy the barbell work that's in that, and I also enjoy the strongman type stuff. But seeing Emily was like, you know what? This year, maybe, or maybe next, I might have to wait a little bit to get some weight on. But I'm going to start now, obviously, to tie into what you just said, right?
Yeah.
Start now working on it to build myself up to a point where I can like enter myself in and throw myself in the ring and just see what happens and
Yeah.
have fun with it, which is fantastic. I guess it's part of it. That's part of the journey. And like if I fall flat on my face or if people are jerks or whatever, like whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, dude, you totally should. And the strongman community is a great community. I can almost guarantee that you'll have a great experience, and that the people at whatever event that you signed up for would be welcoming, and it's not the environment that you might expect. It's not nearly as intimidating or overbearing as I think the portrayal of strongman can be. And dude, yeah, do it. Go for it.
And there's a gym here, Strength Depot or something. And I went to one of their events or whatever, and then I went to one of their strongman on Saturdays kind of deal. It just and dudes are strong as shit, but like they're also like we'll help you adjust the weights because I had to drop a couple 100 pounds between each one, but like
Right.
they're completely cool with it.
That's cool.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you beyond words. I'm so thankful that you shared my students' stories, that you listen to all my weird questions at all hours of the day. Appreciate that because it's you've helped me grow a lot this year, and I appreciate that. On my way towards doing pretty cool things. I'm wondering if you have any final words. I know. I mean, I'll put it underneath like places people can follow you, get your stuff, all that sort of deal. Because I mean, in addition to being a rad dude and great coach, you're a business owner who has some cool stuff to share with the world. So
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate you. We're the same. We're just trying to I think do cool things for ourselves and for other people, and just so happens that we have a lot of crossover, and so it's a pleasure to talk with you and be on this thing. And dude, it's easy for me to speak with you and to rap on our messages, man. And so I'm just excited to see where this goes and to watch more of you guys do your thing.
cool. Yeah, I'll put it out there for you because you decided not to. At Functional Coach
Yeah,
on all
yeah,
the
hit me up.
Twitters and Instagrams.
Yep.
At Deuce Gym, like Deuces kind of gym. Well, not Deuces. Deuce Gym.
Yeah.
And at O Nutritionals, I think, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right.
And this has been the 8th episode of the Hive with Logan Gelbrich, super rad dude in Venice, who owns Deuce Gym and Original Nutritionals. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Logan, for joining us.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Yep. Peace.
Bye.